you want me to?
I got it.
Oh, dog slobbered on my shit again.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson, and today we're joined by none other than Kylos Kreations. Woo!
Everybody, welcome, Kylo.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you, Kylo, for coming on the show today. We really appreciate you being here. But before we get started with our Have a Chat episode, just wanted to remind everybody that if you want to help financially support the podcast, we have a Patreon and channel memberships. If you want to talk to awesome Star Wars people every single day, consider joining our Discord and check us out on social media to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest Star Wars news. And buy the merch. Kylo, thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
My name is Matt, not Kylo. Kylo is actually my cat.
Yes.
But I 3D print. I don't do any 3D modeling, which is a very misconception. I 3D print, do all the printing, the sanding, the post-processing, making plastic look like metal, plastic look like stone, a lot of melting plastic and making it look pretty. But that's what I do. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.
Heck yeah. I was going to say, Kylo was kind of a lifelong fan from our show, just because we originally didn't you meet friend of the show.
You a fan.
Relegated. I'm relegated.
We met Kylo at the first ErieCon that Jax was not at.
Yes, that's what I thought. Okay.
A little bit further down than us.
Yeah, I didn't meet Jax until probably 6 months later.
Yeah. You met the hot ones first, and now you know him. But no, and then we've just been chit-chatting ever since. It's funny because we'll go through because now you're down here with me, so I can see you whenever I want, except for I can't because my car's busted. But it was we would hang out and then we'd go a season. It was mostly between the con, we wouldn't see each other, and then the con would come up and we'd be and we'd hang out again. But leading up to both of us moving down here, we hung out a bunch.
Yeah, we only lived, when we were in Erie, we only lived 5-10 minutes from each other. 5-10 minutes if you hit the lights. It was always a good time, just being able to be yo, let's do something. But yeah, we met at the ErieCon because I was in my full tech suit, which was the first full suit I ever head to toe made myself. And that's how we started talking. And then it was just kind of oh, hey, we have this show. And I was cool. I like Star Wars. I like podcasts, listen to that. And then, you guys would make an episode. I would be hey, these are my thoughts. And just the conversations got longer and longer and longer until eventually it was just here's my number. Let's just talk. But yeah, it was good. It was fun.
No, fair.
So ignore my big bottle.
Oh. See, your big bottle might be cool, but yours isn't from the Rainforest Cafe Orlando.
Oh my gosh.
It's not.
No, but yeah, I remember when y'all were kind of first texting early on. I was kind of Jacob, who's this Kylo guy that you guys are talking to on the social media?
Kylo and I were in a talking phase.
Yeah, that's funny. That was a good point. No, but so Matt, sorry to keep calling you Kylo, just because that's your screen name, and it's just so much easier to keep calling you that.
It does not bother me whatsoever.
If I call you whatever I'd like, the video won't get monetized. But so you do 3D printing. When did you kind of first start doing this sort of a business?
So I had always had, growing up, always had the affinity for cosplay seems not the right word because I didn't fully really know what it was back in the day, but I always liked costumes, always liked suits, but helmets in particular was something I always really, really liked. I would get the Halloween costume that had the best looking helmet, not the little plastic mask, but the helmet. I always thought they were super cool. When the Star Wars sequels came out, say what you want about them, but they gave us the Black Series line, which included the first ever affordable helmets. Before the Black Series, Kylo Ren helmet came out, it was, you'd be hard pressed to find a good quality helmet that wasn't hundreds and hundreds of dollars, let alone a full suit of anything that wasn't thousands of dollars. And so I bought this helmet, and I kind of rode the Black Series line for a little bit, and I liked them, and I wore them, and I built suits around them, like fabric suits. But I was never really like, eventually that stuff gets expensive. They're $100, a little bit more depending on the helmet per helmet. So eventually, there was helmets I really, really wanted that I just wasn't getting, and I was kind of bummed out because once the Black Series kind of discontinues something, the resale on it is just as expensive as it was before. It's ridiculous. And it was actually my wife who was like, "Hey, I know people build this stuff." But like my knowledge of 3D printing was like resin casting stuff. And like, that was my knowledge of prop building. She was like, "But like, there's 3D printers, like you're very artistic. I've always drawn, always tried to create things. Like, why don't you try to build one?" And I was like, "They're super expensive, like $500. And she's just like, "Well, look, let's get you one. Worst case, it's a wash, and we see what happens." And so she bought me one. It was a Creality CR10S, which unfortunately has bit the dust, but I do have the extruder. I do have the hot end of the extruder from it. I kept it as a last memento. But yeah, I got one, and I built some stuff that was not good. But at the time, I thought, this is amazing. I built this. And the adrenaline rush of like building, one thing after the other was insane. And eventually you learn how to clean stuff up better. Eventually you learn how to, make things look more like metal, more like stone, more like, it was super, super cool being able to teach myself these things. But it kind of started by people just sorry, very long-winded answer, but it started the actual business portion of it. That's kind of how I started making things. The actual business portion of it started with, I created a full Boba Fett suit starting at week 1 of the Book of Boba Fett. And Vivian, it turned out, okay, I didn't have a belt. I didn't have much, but it turned out really good for me, at least. And she was like, you have to post it. You have to post it. And I didn't want to post it because I was scared people would make fun of me. And then she made the account named after our cat. I never changed the name. And eventually, slowly but surely, people were asking, "Hey, can you make me this? Can you make me that?" And I just, seized an opportunity and kind of ran with it.
Cool.
Heck yeah. No, I feel like that's kind of the daunting part too, I guess, of like first starting out to like do costuming. I've told this before that like my first costume was like a really, really cruddy like pilot from Titanfall. And Jacob took the pictures for it. And I mean, at the time I was in middle school, high school, I think.
I know I still have them.
Oh no, Jacob has it. Okay.
I'll dig it up.
There's a beautiful bliss though in not knowing anything, because when you build the suit, it's like, I built an Iron Man helmet for my sister for her birthday, and I look at it now and I'm like, this is awful. Like I've asked her 100 times, like, let me remake this for you, because there's layer lines everywhere. It is not like, I didn't know what sanding was, or like I barely did it.
Oh,
but like
wow.
when I made it, it was the greatest thing I've ever created. And so it looking back on it, but like there's that nice bliss of not knowing if something's good or bad. You're just enjoying the process, which allows you to learn more about the process. And then before you know it, you're making incredible things that you look back at your old stuff and you're like, damn, I'm really glad I stuck with it and figured more out. But there's that amazing just feeling of not knowing what's good or bad.
Oh yeah. No, that's true. That's true. Because I mean, yeah, looking back on it, I like don't want people to try to find that suit sometimes, just because I'm like, that was rough. But that's also because I was a kid and I was just ignorant, and I was like, this is the coolest looking thing ever. I look exactly like the pilots. I did not look exactly like the pilots.
Yeah, but like it's not even ignorance. It's just you're proud of what you made. And it's so super easy, especially now. And like, I still do it to this day, and I'm a hypocrite, but like, you look at things other people made and you're like, dang, like I'm never going to get there. But it like, you're also looking at what they made on camera. Like layer lines
That's
can
true.
be hidden really well. Like if I took a deep dive into some of these prop makers I idolize, I'm sure I'd find things wrong with and like they would point out things wrong with my props or things wrong with their own props. And it's hard to get down the rabbit hole comparing yourself. But I mean, I'm always team be proud of what you make, always.
The first costume I made was like in 5th grade. I destroyed like a bunch of rags, and I made an Assassin's Creed 3 costume. Looked trash. Looks like I had rags on.
When Jacob was in his sewing era, that was something I forgot about. When Jacob was really, really into sewing.
Yeah, my hyperfixation of sewing. I can't find your suit anywhere, Jackson.
It's on my Instagram.
Add it in post. Add it in post.
Yeah, add it in post.
The beauty of editing.
You don't gotta look.
If I can find it. The only thing I can find is the EVA foam Reaper mask I made in middle school from Overwatch.
It doesn't look bad though.
That's scary.
I have pictures of the helmet. That I know I have because that was what you got from the collector's edition, and that thing was dope.
Oh yeah, the helmet was absolutely fire. And that was the best part of the entire suit was the fact that I had a $200 helmet.
Yeah.
I loved that. Like you have this really nice, like one piece of the suit is super, super nice. And the other is completely handmade. And there's a visible difference between the two. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it always makes me laugh. When
the jets on the back. The jet boosters on his back were Jif peanut butter jars.
Yeah, they're Jif peanut butter jars that I painted over.
You got to do what you got to do. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
No. So I was trying to think now because.
Quick shout out. Today's coffee receptacle is brought to you by Kylo.
I did. I had extras.
Wow.
I love them. I use them every day.
So obviously you talked about your process of improvement and whatnot, and that's kind of led you to join the Mandalorian Mercs too, and now do your own suit. So did you want to kind of talk about maybe the development of the suit for that? Just because I mean, for you and I, who are both in organizations that really scrutinize every little detail, like maybe what that's like, or even just being in the Mercs now, kind of a thing for people. Because I know the 501st is talked about a lot more than the Mercs.
How hellish of a process was it?
I would definitely not describe it as hellish. Everybody, and like everyone's experience is different. So obviously, I'll preface it with that. You know, what I'm saying could be very different from what others are experiencing. My experience in applying and eventually the acceptance of this group was nothing but phenomenal, start to finish. Everybody was so nice. They would, give me feedback, and if I had any clarifications on the feedback, they would send me exactly what I asked for, and sometimes even more, which definitely, speed ran the process because I would read certain requirements or certain critiques on my application that, a little differently. And then I'd be like, hey, I just want to make sure I'm reading this right. And they're like, that is not at all what we're saying. Here's what we're saying. And I'm like, oh, you just saved me from sanding down this entire thing. But the process started by I wanted to make a Mandalorian helmet. I knew I wanted to make a custom Mandalorian helmet. I had no ambition to make a full suit, had no not desire. It wasn't something I was thinking about. I just wanted to make a helmet. And so I made a Din Djarin style. It's not the helmet you see behind me. I made a Din Djarin style helmet that was, the Sahara beige, sky blue visor. It followed a similar color scheme as that one. And I made gauntlets to go with it just because I was like, that's cool. Eventually, I was like, you know what? I have the helmet, I have the gauntlets. I want to make some chest armor, so I made chest armor, and then I wanted to attach it to something. So I started. I bought and altered a flight suit off of Etsy, and made shoulder plates. I very, very bare bones, but there was no desire to be in a costume club. The desire was just I wanted a suit, and I built a suit. It was actually at the last ErieCon that we all had attended together. I had my own booth. I had my own vending booth, and it was Tommy's father, who's in the 501st, and who was like, hey, like, this is actually like for a bare bones suit, like really good. Like you should, like your stitching is great. Your paint is great. Like your helmet looks good. You should try and get into the mercs because the 501st does not do custom characters. So like you should try and get into the Mandalorian mercs. And I was like, I don't know. Like that's always been a very like, oh, I don't want to touch that because I've heard horror stories of the 501st and these costume clubs. And I was like, I don't want to do that. But, I kind of thought about it and I'm like, you know what? Sure. So I submitted my bare bones suit and they sent me a laundry list of things. You need to add this, you need to add that. Like we can see lines here in your shoulders. You need to sand those out. Like your suit is clean. Like if your armor is damaged or I love battle damage. So I battle damage my helmet, my armor. But like if your armor is battle damage, your suit needs to be dirty. Like you can't have a clean suit with damaged armor. And so, one by one, I fixed everything. I would always label their critiques as like high priority and like really hard to fix, whether that was like I had to hem pants or completely remake a piece that was, hard versus like low priority, which is like, oh, they need more weathering like on my side. It's like, okay, I can do that. That won't take me any long. So I'm going to prioritize this hard stuff and then just, do the weathering later. Eventually it took me about 7 months. I submitted it to 7 months, about 4 days to a week for them to reach back out to me because they're all volunteers. About 4 days to a week to reach back out to me with my new list of critiques. And week by week, it got smaller until eventually they were nitpicky. They were very, very nitpicky. On my one gauntlet, there was the smallest, and I can find the picture and send it to you guys later, but it was literally the smallest line that they had to zoom in to the point where the picture was grainy and had a little circle, and they're like, that needs sanded out. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? And it's like on the inside back portion of the gauntlet. So it's like no one will ever see it. I didn't even see it. Like, and so I fixed it. And 2 days later, I got an email saying I was accepted. And that was just, I woke Vivian up. I woke my wife up and I'm like, I did it. And she's like, I'm proud of you. And then went right back to bed. But it was great. It was a good process. I really enjoyed it. Nobody was mean. Everyone was super, super nice. Very, very helpful. I ended up adding a lot to my suit, altering things that, I didn't even know I wanted on my suit. I added LEDs, electronics, and looking back at my suit now versus where it started, it is a night and day difference. It's wild to think that where I started is, where I ended kind of deal.
Do you have a before and after picture?
I do, but I can send it to you guys later. I might.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I definitely do. I can send it to you guys later because I made reels on my Instagram of each application process. So every time I got critiques, I went over my critiques in a reel, and then I fixed them, and then I sent the new ones out, and I repeated that process till I eventually got in. But so I definitely do have the pictures. I just have to dig them out of my phone.
10-4.
Yeah,
cool.
No, that was a really fun updates to watch too. Just kind of as like your suit was coming together, but like you definitely hit the main point home too, is that they tell you what they need like fixed for it to be like accurate. Like again, and it's all based on experience. Most of the time, these people who are volunteering their time are going to be like really kind to you about like, yeah, just like fix this and this, and then you should be okay. Kind of.
Hey, you're back. What's up? How you doing?
Okay, all right. I guess I decided to lag out, and the tripod got tilted too in the process.
I was like, oh, there he goes.
My bad. No, but I mean, yeah, they tell you what to fix. So I mean, that was good at least that they were very helpful for you. But
sure.
It was a nice moment too that we got to have on May the 4th of this year, because that was when we got to troop together for the first time.
Yes, we were both chasing acceptance. I had a little bit more of a head start than you did on your suit. And we were obviously making two different suits. There's a lot more freedom I had making a custom character than you did as a set canon character. but we were chasing acceptance, and we just kept talking. Every time we got critiques, it was, I don't know if I'm going to get this done by the 4th. I don't know if I'm going to get this done by the troop, because we both wanted to do our first ever troop. Had the potential to be on May the 4th at a Star Wars night at PNC Park. I am from Pittsburgh. I'm a massive, massive baseball fan. So for my first troop for me to get accepted, and my first troop be on Star Wars Day in my hometown, in my favorite baseball team stadium, like what it was with a crazy notion to me. And, Force worked itself out, and I worked really hard. I got it done, and we got to share that moment. That's one of my favorite pictures you and I have, actually, of the first troop sign with us in our helmets. And it was just a blast. I loved it, but it was an absolute time.
Oh yeah, the whole event itself was great. And I mean, that's why I really like doing it too, is just the amount of like kids that were there, or just like other people that were like, oh my gosh, it's these characters and I want to get a photo with you because I watched Star Wars when it came out, or I watch Star Wars all the time with my family. That's what like really makes it for me, is like seeing the people enjoy seeing the character.
Yeah, and there was only one other Merc that was there. And he was from my clan, and it was the first and last troop I was ever going to have as part of that group, because I was immediately moving to Florida, which was unfortunate. But this guy was like the nicest guy ever, and I was like, I've never done this, I'm nervous. He's just like, look, just no matter what, you're Boba Fett. Like, he's like, people are going to call you like, you're in a Mando helmet, you're going to be called Boba Fett. Just learn to respond to it, but have fun. They don't know. A lot of people don't know any better. It's just like, it's a good time, and it was a blast. I loved every second of it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't got a costume.
But we'll get you that out.
You got to build one. It's fun.
I know. I want because like my dad and I have been talking about when I get back, just because we were trying to 3D print route, and then like the printer broke, and it was like we might just buy kits. My goal is I want to do live action Rex, initially based off the Hot Toys / Sideshow. Now I don't know if I want to go
Are you also going to have the backwards?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Backwards and upside down.
Someone's making that Rex right now.
That would be cool. But that's what I want to do. But it's like I have a lot of I want to do Cal Kestis as well, like from Jedi Survivor. And I want to build a BD that I can mount to my shoulder and put like electronics in. And there's that guy that's always at ErieCon with the dragon that like moves on his shoulder. I want to do that like for BD, like a mountable electronic that like animatronic that moves around. I feel like that'd be so dope. I want to do that really bad. I feel like Kylo Ren would be a lot of fun to do.
Kylo would be a lot of fun.
I want to do Kylo. I want to do Mando, and I want to do Rex. That's kind of like my list that I want to do.
Yeah. If I ever do the 501st, my next costume is one that I'm going to be able to sit in. I have my showstopper in my Mandalorian, and then I want to have my Sunday cosplay, my Sunday suit that I can just sit and eat and not have to worry about going to the bathroom.
My Sunday suit is I want to make a Scout Trooper, Imperial Scout.
Dude, because did you see I got to try a Scout?
Yeah. It's my favorite Imperial. It's like out of all, I brought two helmets down here with me. I brought my 332nd that I made, and I brought the Scout Trooper because I love Scout Troopers.
I've toyed with the idea of I'm a big fan of Shore Troopers.
Those are fun too.
That's where I got the color scheme for my Mando was. I loved the beige. I loved it because you can just see all the grit and dirt, and that's how I got the color scheme.
Yeah.
I fell in love with those troopers, so I would probably end up doing a Shore Trooper if I went for like another full blown suit. I would do that.
Yeah, because shout out to Pacific Commander Oppo, who I had on the Have a Chat almost 2 weeks ago now. Him and another person in California are the only version of the Shore Trooper from Andor that Sam Witwer voices that are like in the Legion. They're like the only like suits for it. But Shore Trooper is a really big one. He keeps telling me to do one. I don't know if you saw, but when I was trying to do my first troop here in Hawaii, I didn't have my 5 suit yet because it didn't ship. And one of the Legion members was going to let me borrow his Scout Trooper, so I got to like try it on and like
I did
wear it
see
a bit.
that. Yeah, that
But
was cool.
it's just like you said, that is the perfect Sunday costume. It was so comfortable. It was so nice. I could move like full range of motion, everything. I was like, I need this suit.
When I wore my tech suit to ErieCon, at this point 2-3 years ago,
Yeah.
I just kept going like, Viv, like, can you take my helmet off? Like, I need water. And she would have to like take it off, and she'd have to like, because I couldn't, like, this is as far as I could lift my arm with his bicep pieces and stuff. And so she would have to like put a straw up to my mouth. It was funny, but like, yeah, I need a comfy one, man. Mando is comfortable. I can actually touch my head, take my helmet on and off, but like, you can't really sit in it with the ab armor and stuff.
Yeah, I was this close to getting a Kashyyyk Trooper because someone on the Clone Trooper group was like, I need to get rid of my suit. I'm selling it for like $600. Like, hit me up. And I was like, oh, but someone like just beat me to it. And I was like, no.
If you would guarantee me it would fit, I'd probably buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or just minor
Yeah,
alteration.
something comfy, something would be really, really fun to do like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I was trying to think of, because if I did anything else, I would want to do something that's comfy, and I want to do like a grunt character. I don't want to be like a main character now, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I get that. It's nice to do the grunts, just like, who are you? I'm just a guy. Like, I'm just a dude.
I'm me.
Yeah.
I'm just Ken.
Yeah. People here really want me to be a TK now, and I'm like, do I really want to commit to a stormtrooper?
Or like
I don't
TK
think I'll
Trooper
ever
from Bad Batch.
I don't think I'll ever make a stormtrooper.
Are you saying TK from Bad Batch or like TK like
No,
New
just
Hope?
a stormtrooper.
Mm.
I don't think the Ralph McQuarrie stormtrooper from the Bad Batch is a suit yet.
No, I think I remember the CRL picture drop.
I'd have to check because they just came out with the Mandalorian Super Commandos from season 3 of Mando. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Glad that's one.
Moving a little bit away from suits.
Yeah, sure.
Moving a little bit away from suits for the time being, because there's this lovely thing that Kylo and I both do to make money right now called being a cast member at Disney. So, Kylo, I want to, because I've had a couple celebrity interactions. Wow, just in the short time I've been here, I wanted to ask you: have you had any memorable ones, or like any at all?
Oh yeah, a ton. When I was on, Star Wars one is the biggest one. Hayden Christensen stays at the resorts a lot when there's cons, like MegaCon. When he's in the area, he'll stay at the Disney resorts. I've seen Beyonce. I've seen Chris Evans. I have seen Tom Brady and the rest of that Patriots Super Bowl team 2019 or whatever. A lot of athletes, but I mean, you treat them like a guest. You say have a good day, and you keep it moving. You can't talk to them. Certainly not while you're working. And yeah, I mean, I've seen interactions. I've seen people. I have said hi to people, but I don't. I'm not a starstruck person, so I don't get pictures. I don't I treat them like they're guests, and they, they're here at Disney for a good time, and I let them have it. That's what I do, and that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
you're not supposed to make a deal out of it. I've had 4 so far. I've had I met when I was at Auto Plaza. I met Mike Logan, who was the safety for the Steelers the last time they won the Super Bowl. So, because it was funny because I didn't recognize him, and I was like, "Oh, where are you from?" He's like, "Pittsburgh." I was like, "Oh, I'm from Erie." He's like, "Oh, I have family that lives there." I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." I was like, "So you must be a Steelers fan then?" Because Pittsburgh, that's like the one thing. And he goes, "Yeah, I used to play." I was like, "No shot. What's your name?" He was like, "Mike Logan." I was like, "No shot." I was like, "That's so." So I had him. I had the head coach for Penn State football come through, and then I saw Zach Galifianakis. If you don't know his name, he's the comedian that does the Between the Two Ferns interviews. He did if you've seen the one with he sit with Hillary and then plays a Trump commercial. So I saw him and his family buy the Falcon, and I I let him go because I didn't want to he was with his family. I'm not gonna talk to him. And then like a couple of days ago, I met Jay Weinberg, the drummer for Slipknot. He came through. Ex drummer.
Yeah,
the best drummer.
We're definitely working where we work. It's not at all uncommon. It's like every single day there's a chance to meet somebody. Now, I've met a ton of, probably more than I can count as far as like influencers, social media people go. I do not count them as celebrities. I barely count the celebrities as celebrities, depending on who they are. But I mean, that's all up for your definition of what a celebrity is. But yeah, I mean, you see them all the time. But the most exciting one for me that I got to see with my own eyes was probably Hayden Christensen. Besides that was, then you go to, I would say, Chris Evans, who at the time of me meeting him, it was right around the time Endgame came out. I met him. I say met. I never, maybe like a nod, like that's as far as I go with it. I don't like bothering people. But I had seen him about 3 months before Endgame came out. He was at Magic Kingdom with his family, and people are live tweeting his location, and it was right outside the Haunted Mansion. And there's a restaurant directly across from the Haunted Mansion called the Harbor House. And there is a table all the way up and in the corner next to a window. It's a 2-seater that I used to go and a mobile order my sandwich, and I would sit and I would eat and I would watch people watching the Haunted Mansion line. And I opened up Twitter when Twitter was still in existence, and it was like, Chris Evans at the Haunted Mansion. And I just looked out the window and I'm like, oh my God, there he is. I kept eating my sandwich. I just kept eating my sandwich. And then when I came out after I was done, he was still there talking to people. And I was just like, hi. And then I kept going.
So I don't count this as me. So I was in so my first date I went on with Alexa. We went to the Atlantic Dance at the boardwalk. But I parked, my car was still working at this time. I parked at the yacht club, which usually you're not supposed to do, but I was like, I'm going to Jelly Roll. So they let me through. Also the security guard likes my Legend of Zelda sticker, and him and I yabbed about, he was like older and he was like, I played the originals. I was like, well, I have two. And then we talked about Legend of Zelda for like 5 minutes because there was like nobody there. And then he's like, so shout out to that guy. But, because he was like, I really can't, when I first got there, I was like, I really can't let you through. I was like, because I'm new here. I was still fresh. I had no idea why. I was like, is it just like a thing? He's like, that, and we have a high profile here tonight. I was like, can I know who? He's like, not really. And I was like, and he's like, Chris Evans. So I was like, oh, cool. So when we were walking to the Jelly Roll area, we saw an entourage of people, and we saw like some paparazzi. So that was definitely Chris, but it was just like from a distance where it was like, oh, that's cool that I'm like in the same area as him. I know
it's a weird feeling.
It is weird. Right, it's cool though. But it's like, oh, somebody I idolize is like right over there. But it's like, because I'm here, and especially because I work here now, I don't want to bother anybody. So like the most I'll say is like hi, or I'll wave. Even if it's like, if Hayden Christensen comes through, I might cry, but I'll just be like
yes, he stays at one resort in particular, but
don't dox him.
Nope, not going to.
I bet I know which one it is. I think I could guess.
Well, you're not going to, so
I'm not gonna.
I'll never confirm. I will not confirm or deny.
Well, never mind. But no. So, oh, there he goes. So another thing about working at Disney, I think is probably the best is I'd say is the guest interaction is probably my favorite thing about working here. What do you have any like fun guest stories?
I have a ton, but yeah, no, I mean, guest interaction is my favorite part. I'm trying to, at the immediate moment, transfer into a role that is definitely more guest-centered. I like talking and helping people, so eventually I want to get more into the guest services side of things.
Let me know if this is too loud. I'm sorry, guys.
I don't know what you're talking about, so you're all good.
No idea.
Okay, thank you.
Why is there something going on in the background?
The landscapers are weed whacking like right now outside the window.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. But No, I guest interaction here is it's either like super fun or like super terrible. Like this last night, I was working the crosswalk of the parking lot, and we were having our after hours event. And this family walked into the tram lane right in front of the tram, so they had to hard stop. And then they were just like, they stopped for us, and I was like trying to point. I was like, no, please, please, friends, get out of the way. I'm like, the tram needs to keep moving, and they didn't speak English, but what they did know how to say in English was "F you." Why don't you speak Spanish? And I started Duolingo. I can say hombre. That's it. I'm like, that's all I got. So, I mean, there's like things like that where it's like you just get yelled at, but who cares? Take it on the chin.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm. I think I'll be able to.
I mean,
After my program, I'll be able to go in depth about all like the really funny ones, but I don't think I can talk about them now. I don't know how this works.
yeah, that's true.
I don't know if the mouse has ears and eyes everywhere and be like,
He definitely do. He definitely do. But
do.
just because I work just more of like a more like customer based job just for sales for what I do, I feel like the one thing that's legitimately shocked me, at least about being here compared to you guys, is I've had probably like one or two like negative interactions with people. Like people here, like when they're buying stuff, they're in such like a vacation mindset that like everyone's just relaxed and they're nice and they're chill, which is shocking coming from when Jacob and I worked at LensCrafters. People there were just nasty beyond belief. And I mean, sure, I'll probably get another like rude person here or there sometimes, but like people here just generally like more chill and more nice. But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Especially for Disney, since that is like a vacation that people are taking there if they don't already live in Florida.
There's this thing though, and I'm sure Kylo deals with it because he's in the resorts. Where they haven't, and especially for me, they haven't gotten into the park yet where the magic happens. They're just in the ethereal plain desert known as the parking lot still, and it's hot and it's sweaty, and they're anxious to get in, and their kids are screaming, and they're probably hungry, and they probably already spent $30 just on a waffle, and they're like, and then they had to pay to park, and then and then somebody's telling them exactly where to park, and depending on where you are, it might be more of a walk than usual, and it's already hot, so like. There's two people are either they're just happy to be there or they just want me on the pavement. They just want me splattered. It's like there's no in between out there. This is funny. This is really funny. So I'm generally like super chill. Even like when people start being mean and start like yelling at me, I'm just kind of like I'll either like giggle about it or I'll just try to like play it off and be like, I'm sorry, have a great day. There's one dude, we're in this state called repark, which means we're no longer like parking new rows towards the back. We have enough people that have left early in the day that there's enough space up front that we can start parking cars up front. One thing is that we cannot let cars back into spaces because that's like how we have the most accidents. So,
I didn't know that actually.
You'd start backing to a space. So I'm trying to tell him like, no, sir, I need you to head a little bit further down the road. I can see the parking spot. It's 2 spaces away. I'm like, I need you to head down. And he just starts lambasting me about why can't I park here? Like, granted, he had enough space to park and he was fine. But I'm like, we were getting audited, which means that there's a supervisor coming around. And if you fail the audit, like we passed 15 in a row and I wasn't going to be the reason why we failed one. So I'm like asking him to I'm like, please. I'm like, I know it's a little further. I'd really appreciate it though. It's just, I can't have you do this. Dude is yelling at me. So I just look him dead in the eye and go, I start crying like a baby. And he goes, what? And I was like, you moved? And then he did. And it was so funny. I was just kind of like, cool. Good to know that works. So that was like, and after I did that, I was like, oh, I'm getting a complaint for sure. But nobody did. So I was like, it's definitely the dumbest thing I've done with a guest. That and we have those light ones at night. I lightsaber fight children with them when they come past. It's so much fun.
What the? Okay, yeah, because the the complaints and like the compliments thing is like a new thing to me. Did you get a lot of those, Matt, when you were working there?
Yeah, so there is no formal way to complain. There's formal ways to give. They're called cast compliments. Before it was over Twitter, you would tweet at a cast compliment account that Disney would see. They would see who you were, and they would send a notification to your leader. And then usually the leader would either acknowledge it in some way, or it all depends on your leadership. Then there were now it's all done through the Disney app. It's a similar process, just not over Twitter anymore. But there is no formal way to complain. People have tried to start like cast complaint accounts, but like it never goes anywhere. Usually, if someone has a complaint, depending on what it is, Disney dismisses it without even like looking into it, because if it's like so and so didn't let me park here, it's like, okay, well, they're doing their job, so it's like, here you go, like go do your thing. But if it's like so and so cried at me like a baby, they would probably fire Jake. So he's really lucky he got away with that, actually. I wouldn't be brave enough to do that.
I mean, he was letting and the best part is the auditor watched me do it, and she was like, "What happened there?" And I was like, he was yelling at me about backing up, and I was just telling him. She's like, "Well, I mean, you did your job," and we passed that audit. So I mean, the most ways that people will complain is after you leave the park. Sometimes you'll get an email that's like for a survey, and like people will just like leave the survey and be like, "Meh, courtesy, meh." But like, Kylos, since you've been here, how many cast compliments have you acquired?
Oh, well, I don't know.
I'm keeping it because like all mine are fresh. I don't know if it kept any of yours from like your previous programs or.
I honestly, since it moved to the app, I don't know how to even look it up.
Oh, it's literally just an application called Recognize Me.
Just cast compliments show up in that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think I have like 27 or 28 right now, which is funny because
Jacob's collecting stars.
I'm getting my golden stars on my chart, bro.
When I was on my program, I got a ton. And I kept track of those, but since I moved back down, I haven't looked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nice to everybody. I mean, you could be the nicest human in the world, give these people everything, and they won't give you one, and then you could just be like, "Oh yeah, there's the bus stop," and you get like 4. Like it's so random. People, it all depends on the guest.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I wasn't prepared for is gifts. Like people that will like make like. So I've noticed this. I have this bracelet on that somebody, a guest gave to me for cast member. They were handing out friendship bracelets, so I have one of those. I've been given stickers and.
Have you gotten the bags of candy yet? I
haven't, but I got one guest through. Don't eat it.
I mean, it's always really nice, but you're taking candy from a stranger, and I don't know what they did to it. So I always like.
That's a good point. He's got a good point.
I will never ingest food that a stranger gives me.
The coolest thing I was given was I met somebody had their 501st jersey on. I was like, "Oh, who do you troop as?" And I was at Auto Plaza, and we weren't busy, so I was talking about them like who they trooped with. But they were from Sweden, and they like just dug in their bag and they gave me a Sweden patch for their 501st garrison. That's probably the coolest thing I've been given. I have like a stack of 501st cards that I got from a guy that does like Rebel Legion, 501st, and Mando Mercs. So I have like a stack of like all his cards and his wife's cards that they all do together.
I got an Applebee's gift card when I was on my program once.
That's
crazy. I don't know. It was like a $50 Applebee's gift card that I'm pretty sure was like used.
That's funny.
It didn't like it wasn't like in like a little baggie like how they normally hand. Like it was like, hey, here, and it was like a grind. I was like, okay, thanks. Like,
I was at our courtesy. I was at our courtesy corner, which is like I have like a pin trading code, and I like write on the buttons like, oh, like birthday or I'm celebrating this. And this family of 30 came through, and they just wanted me to write I'm celebrating Familia on every single button. So I made 30 of these buttons, and I get done, and then the dude tries to give me like a $5 tip, and I'm like, I can't take it, sir. Thank you, but no thanks. And then he's like, I want you to have it. And I was like, no, sir, I'm not allowed. He goes, I don't care. And he throws it at me and then runs away and goes, hee, runs away. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So I called my leader. I was like, what should I do? And they're like, I was like, okay.
That's fair.
I love working here. It's like I didn't think I would like working in the parking lot just because I was like, oh, I wish I was in Star Wars and doing. Granted, if I was doing Star Wars stuff, I'd be having a ball. But I really do like working.
That's good though. I'm glad that your parking situation is at least working out a lot better than what we thought it would be. Because I can remember being in Erie and you'd be like, Jackson, I got my job, I got parking, and I was like, chat, we're so cooked. This is it.
Yeah, there's very. It's a full-time job is what you're applying for, and like everyone applies thinking it's going to be like the prince, the princess, and it's like no, there's a ton of grimy jobs that you don't see people do that you got to get done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Ryan and Jared, they both do PhotoPass, and it's like they like it for the most part, but it's like apparently it's super hard on your knees because you're up and down, like on your knees.
Ooh, yeah.
Like there's this one dude that's been doing it for like 20 years, and he's like maybe like 50 or 60, and he has to use a walker. I'm like, ooh. I always see him by tower. He's always shooting by tower tear.
Get you some knee pads.
I know. I've seen some PhotoPass people with knee pads. I still think PhotoPass would be fun. When I go to the park, it's like I'm not working, but I feel like I am because especially if you're rude to a guest in any way and somebody complains about you and they find out that you're a cast member, they can take away your privilege to go to the park. You'll just work here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they'll revoke you. So it's like when I'm there, I'm like I feel like I'm still kind of working. So my favorite thing to do is if ever I see people trying to take like families trying to take pictures, I'm like, you guys want a picture? And I'm like, yeah, I get the PhotoPass for a little bit. So I've probably taken like 50 or 60 family photos for people. Like I'm always doing it. It's so much fun. So yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. That's why I got a tripod now. Ooh. So that I can take my own photos.
You can't bring it into a park.
Oh yeah, because can't you not bring selfie sticks?
Nope. Security will take
Yeah,
it.
that was the thing when we were there the last time, because those couples had the selfie sticks in front of Magic Kingdom, and the people were like, take that shit. Take it.
It's anything that could be like a blunt force.
Yeah.
Like if you could potentially drop it off a ride and it could harm somebody, they don't.
One thing that's new too is they had some rule change within the past couple of years where like they don't want even like I'm surprised that Indiana Jones is still kind of a thing because they don't even want the imagery of guns in their park at all. So they don't even sell blasters at Galaxy's Edge anymore. There's no blasters, period.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, because come to think of it, I bought a Stormtrooper blaster there before.
And I bought a DL-44 when we last time we were there. So that's why it's a jarring thing. That's like no blasters anymore. The only weapon that you can bring into a park is a lightsaber. That's the only one that they'll accept. Just because people are walking out with them anyway. But no, it's still a blast. It's a blast. It's funny because in my spiel, because you're supposed to like if you're about to bring people in, you're supposed to say like no weapons are allowed in the parks, and some people are like, no firearms, no this, no that. But I'm like, no blasters. No blasters. Kylo, you got to come hear my spiel. It's fun.
I've been to studios a bunch, man. I never see. I always look for you.
I feel like I'm always there. I'm always there.
I've never one time seen you.
This is unfair.
Maybe he's faking his employment to Disney, and Jacob doesn't really work there. He just takes the photos.
That's it.
Yeah, that's right. I actually just live backstage in a dumpster for 13 hours and accumulate cash. But I don't got much else to talk about if I'm being frank.
No, I couldn't think it. Did you have anything else to mention for the good of the order, Kyle, before we go into it is a have a chat tradition to do a lightning round of questions at the very end. So before we get into that,
my answers have to be lightning fast because I'm a rambler. I'm kind of going off your guys' lead here. So fire away whenever you're ready.
Heck yeah. Okay, so first, most important question that we have to ask you. What is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh, God. It's a loaded answer. Everyone hates my answer. I love Attack of the Clones.
Okay. No, that's a good answer. It's unique. Not a lot of people say Attack of the Clones. I'll give it to you.
Without that movie, nothing happens.
All right, now, what's your favorite Star Wars show, though?
Andor.
Correct answer. Correct answer.
Great answer. Season 2 coming out. Going to be amazing.
Mando is like razor thin behind it, but Andor's I liked it a lot.
Okay. Yeah, cool. That's cool. And last but final question: who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Chewbacca, Han Solo, and Chewbacca as a pair. I count them as one.
It's a classic.
It's a good one.
You can respect it. But
that
Jacob, do you want to take
any droid? I love droids.
Droids are cute. Jacob wants to steal the BD units, and I'm telling him not to.
If they had the BDX droids that they have at California, if I'm at Galaxy's Edge and one of them Jones walks past me, that's just a stray cat that needs a home to me. I'm taking it home.
Absolutely.
That's probably why they haven't brought them here yet, because they know that I'm here.
They're waiting.
The second I leave, they bring them.
No, but Jacob, do you want to take us away?
Sure. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of the 1313 podcast. You can find Kylos. He's got Instagram. He's got TikTok. Do you have YouTube?
I just repost the reels. I have Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook are the ones that I primarily use. Instagram and Facebook being my two.
He's old. He said, check me out on LinkedIn.
It works.
But I'll throw most of his social media down below so you guys can check it out. Go support him. And if you ever have a project that you need a piece for and you know the file for it and you just don't got a printer, maybe you think about hitting him up next time and see if he can get some stuff done for you.
Heck yeah. I can attest that he has really good stuff. He helped me finish my 5 suit. So
also, you can see his stuff. It's like stuff's like right here. You can see like his wrecker and his other helmets and the holocron holders that he has up here.
Oh, I thought you meant there. I'm like, what if I sent you? You're talking about my actual.
I'm pointing at like I'm in the room with you. This is the bit.
Are you oriented different? Because I'm below Matt. Where are you next to Matt on the screen?
Can't you see me pointing at his bullshit?
Nah, you're
Jacob. On my screen, you're pointing at like the Kylo's on the other side of you.
For me, I'm top left. I'm like top left. I'm the
on
man
the right.
stand. So I'm like, oh fuck it, I'll reorient it and post so I look cool. But thank you all so much for joining us. Good. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a good night. Make sure you put your dishes in the washing machine and you put your clothes in the dishwasher and enjoy the rest of your night.
See ya.
Bye.